Rocket Pro partners, thank you for joining us today for another impactful pro performance. Today's pro performance is about growing visibility and reputation with zero cost marketing. How to get local press and grow your reputation. I am your host, Feras Chihadeh, Divisional Vice President with Rocket Pro. I have been with Rocket for over 20 years. I started as a loan officer, like many of us, and worked our way through leadership over the years. In early 2018, I joined QLMS at the time with a total sales team members of about 20. I'm a father of three wonderful kids with a busy lifestyle, jumping from soccer, swimming, and many activities. If you know, you know. It's the social media thing that I have right now. Today, we want to display growth with all of you through the many products and offers that Rocket brings to the table, but also showcase what other partners are doing to grow their business and learn from as well. I have helped hundreds of mortgage brokers throughout the country build a great business through available resources Rocket has to offer, and this is what we are going to do today. With me today is Jide Buckley, one of the most influential mortgage guys on social media, to help us realize what possibilities there are to drum up leads through social media that really has zero cost marketing. What's up, Jide?
Hey, Feras, good to have me on. Oh, good to be on.
Of course, great to have you. Welcome to Rocket Pro, good sir. Tell us more about yourself so our partners watching can relate, know, get familiar with you, and tell us your story.
All right. So my name is Jide Buckley. Um, Before I got into mortgage, I was in marketing. So I studied it. I studied it for 4 years. I went on to do my master's degree. I dropped out halfway through and I came to America. So back in 2020, it was obviously, an absolutely insane, crazy period for mortgage. And I decided to jump into the industry. So I got into the industry. And as soon as I got into the industry, I realized that the compensation structure that I was in wasn't as favorable as I'd like. Right. And obviously, the broker model is fantastic. You do get to make the lion's share. And that would have been the goal for me. But I didn't have my own leads. And I realized back then I was taking leads, I was receiving leads from the company that I was working for. In order for me to step up my career, I needed to generate them. And I didn't have a sphere, a sphere. I didn't have friends, family that I knew in America. So I had to do what I knew before my mortgage career, which was marketing. So I jumped straight into social media. Very fortunate around that time is when TikTok blew up and Instagram Reels blew up. And I got straight on there and I started making mortgage content. And from then, I started out with about 90 followers, 90 friends and family who I literally forced to follow me. I didn't give them an option. I said, you got to follow my new page.
Yeah,
From there to now, I've got over 500,000 followers on Instagram alone, and followers on lots of other different platforms. And I've generated lots of leads and built a business now, direct to consumer, and building referral relationships all through social media.
I love that. So you got 500,000 followers, new to the country, didn't have a sphere of influence to actually rely on. You force your family to actually follow on Instagram, which is, by the way, that's absolutely amazing. And look where you're at right now. Absolutely inspiring, which we're going to talk more about this. But really, the outcome that we're going to have here today is the actual explain to everyone watching this why trust-based words travel further than paid marketing. Also, identify how our partners get noticed locally and how to share expertise with positive reception and synthesis, how recognition and community visibility reinforce trust to support long-term growth. There's a lot to talk about. But I want to ask before we go into all this, you're on social media. Do you have a username that you go off of?
Yeah, so my social media username came about by accident. I was making content. I just created my mortgage page and I wanted to make sure that I had the word mortgage in my username. So I had mortgage in there. So I called myself The Mortgage. And then I wanted to put something afterwards. And I was very unimaginative and I was looking around and I was figuring out what to put as the extra, bit of wording behind the word mortgage. And I was making the content in my kitchen. So I just put mortgage kitchen and I just posted the name and I left it. And to this day, I am the mortgage kitchen on Instagram. So yeah, that's my username.
Hey, who doesn't like the kitchen, right? We cook, we eat, we gather. That's what a home is about, being in the kitchen. But what is your favorite dish to cook in the kitchen?
Yeah, so I'm all about speed personally myself. I've got a lot of other things going on. So if and when I do cook, I'll usually go back to my roots. My grandmother was Sicilian and she cooked an amazing spaghetti bolognese. So I'm used to it. So I'll just go straight to spaghetti bolognese. In England, we call it spag bol. Make that nice and easy.
All right, love it. All right, so this is the question a lot of people's mind, Allos, brokers, everybody, right? I want to get the word out. Can I get people to trust my content? Where do I start? So in this right now, how can Allos do a zero cost marketing?
Yeah, great question. I mean, really, the only way to do no cost marketing is social media, right? And it's no cost in terms of you're not buying the lead, but you're working for it, right? It's a lot of effort, which is what puts a lot of people off. But essentially, it's about creating content on social media, and that content has to generate some level of engagement with the audience. Once the audience is engaged, they're going to want to reach out to you to either ask a question or potentially to work with you, and that will then turn into a lead. So it's really that straightforward. And it's more about now understanding, okay, how can I provide as much value as possible on social media to then generate as much interest as possible and ultimately as many leads as you can?
You're you're really asking questions. You're getting people to do that and trust your content right now. And just curious to know, when you're doing that, what platforms are you using to post, and which ones should Allo go to post and generate those leads that people would trust them with?
Yeah. So I guess before we talk about the platform, I guess the first thing to think about is the nature of the content, right? So when you're on social media in general, the idea of social media as a type of media is it's all about creating and eliciting emotion, right? So whenever you're on social media, if you reflect on your experience as a user, you'll notice that one minute you could be scrolling and you could be laughing at something really funny, right? And then the next second you could scroll and then you could almost start crying at something really, really sad. And then 1 minute later, you could feel really motivated after watching a video of someone in the gym and then want to go to the gym, right? So the platforms, all of them, regardless of which one you're on, they all work on an emotion basis, right? So it's all about heightening dopamine, right? Getting someone addicted to the platform. So ultimately, we need to figure out, okay, as loan officers, how do we generate content that creates some type of emotion? And what's the emotion that we need to create? The emotion that we need to create every single time without fail is wow, right? Wow, that was awesome. That was amazing. Because that wow emotion leads to some type of interaction. So when you're creating the content, always think about providing a lot of value and then making it very, very clear and understandable for the user so that 99.5% of people that watch your piece of content understand exactly what you're saying and they can go, wow, I get it. And then you want to lead them in to having some way of reaching out to you or asking a question in the comments or something like that. But the best platform to do this with, hands down, is going to be Instagram right now as it stands. You know, the platforms will change over time and they always migrate and attention migrates, right? Certain platforms will get more attention over certain periods of time. But Instagram, hands down, is the best right now as it stands for a couple of reasons. One, it's within that Facebook network, right? So you have Meta. Meta owns Facebook, it owns Instagram. So what makes that so powerful is that ultimately, if you have a Facebook account, it's very likely you have an Instagram account. And the majority of the people that we'll be working with will have an Instagram account, right? That they use, and there's a lot of attention from our target demographic on that platform. They're already spending time there. Now, the second thing here, which is great, and because Instagram's part of that Meta network, it's a very, very good platform for running paid ads. And the reason why that works so well for organic content is because once you start creating organic content on social media and it does well, all of a sudden you have an indication as to, okay, this piece of content is really connecting with my audience, is already doing well. Now I can safely say, if I put money behind this piece of content and push this to exactly who I'm looking to reach, I'm going to have the highest and best possible chance of that piece of content generating me as much leads as possible, and I'm not wasting any ad budget. So unlike TikTok, YouTube, it's very difficult to monetize organic content. On Instagram, as soon as a piece of content does well, if you want to generate leads, whether that be direct to consumer or for a referral partner, you can instantly put money behind that piece of content. And now you know what works and you can start to get a better ROI from it.
Right away, these posts are generating leads over to you. You can actually be like intentional with where that marketing, where the money wants to be spent to generate more of these leads, which is absolutely fantastic through that. So you touched on emotions about the wow factor. Is that, do you get that that's what allows need and people need to actually come up with as far as content to get the trust from the audience that they're going to reach out and ask questions on this?
Yeah. So ultimately, the aim of the game on social media, you have to think about it, is it's a lot like business, right? So when someone is on social media and they're scrolling, right? If they stop on your piece of content, they're essentially saying, I'm going to give you 60 seconds of my time. And in return, I'm going to be expecting what, right? They're going to think, okay, what is the deliverable off of the 60 seconds that they're going to give you? So if you can give them something that is clearly going to help them save $10,000 in closing costs, or could help them buy a $500,000 home with 3.5% down, whatever it is, we all understand the mortgage programs. If you can give them that information in the space of 60 seconds, they think, okay, well, I've been scrolling here for 2 hours. This next 60 seconds is going to make it all worth it, right? It's disproportionate value and it's good business for them to spend 60 seconds to learn how to save $10,000. That's the baseline for it. So ultimately, when you start giving a lot of value, right, what happens is people start to create trust with you because ultimately you're giving them a lot of value without asking for a lot back, right? And all of a sudden now, the relationship that you have with your audience is that of you're here to help them, you're here to educate them, and through that wow feeling, right, they're going to take some type of engagement which is going to help push your content, right? So as soon as you start building trust with the audience through delivering value consistently over time, you now position yourself as an expert, and you now get more eyeballs on you from people who are actually looking to transact. And ultimately, knowing is trusting, right? If someone sees your face enough, if someone has you positioned in their mind as an industry leader, instantly you become synonymous with what they're looking to do. So if it comes to the point where they're looking to refinance and they think, okay, I need to refinance, boom, right? I'm going straight to Feras. I've seen his content. That's really the way that the trust works on social.
You're creating the trust. Now we're talking about execution and who to reach out to. We have many LOs throughout the country that are focused on local markets, some on a national level. How do we get recognized and what should we do to actually impact or get the trust from our audience in our local markets, in our whatever we decide on what market we do these posts in?
Yeah, great question. So ultimately, if you're looking to go narrow, right, if you're looking to just go local on social media, which is ideal for most of us, because as a loan officer, as a mortgage broker, if you're working with a local sphere and you're kind of building out that network, it's not helpful to get views from people all the way in Hawaii if you're doing business in California, right? Even though it's great vanity metrics, it's not going to help push your business forward. So ultimately, you have to think, okay, when I'm creating this content, there are two things that I'm looking to achieve, right? I'm looking to reach my target consumer, ideally, which is going to be home buyers and homeowners in your specific area. And two, I'm looking to use this to build my brand up to make it easier for me to get referral partners, real estate agents, attorneys, CPAs, all that stuff, also in your local area. So the amazing thing now with the algorithm and the way that the algorithm has progressed since I started on Instagram and social media is that before you had to really make it an obvious point that you were a mortgage loan officer. So I had to have the word mortgage in my bio so that the platform could read that, right? And these other things. Now it's as simple as the algorithm is so smart that if you create a piece of content and you just reference the county that you're living in, right? Let's say you're living in Orange County. You reference Orange County in your piece of content and you talk about something specific and pertinent to that area. All of a sudden, the algorithm transcribes your video, right? Behind the scenes, it takes that word Orange County and it goes, okay, well, this is relevant to people in that area. And it pushes it to that specific demographic. So it's about making content that on the whole, wow someone, they go, wow, this is really awesome. Provide disproportionate amount of value for the amount of time that they're giving you. 60 seconds, they're going to save $10,000. 60 seconds, they're going to know how to do X, Y, and Z. And then at the same time, um, allowing the platform to do its work, right? So the platform's going to push your content to your audience as long as you're speaking to them. So make the content specific, hyper local if you want to have people in your area reach out. But notice one thing, if your goal is to go viral, if your goal is to hit as many people as possible, the more hyper local your content is, the less reach you'll have. So don't be worried about vanity metrics. Don't be worried when you post on social media and you don't get tens of thousands of views. If you get 500 views from people in your immediate area, because the platform will do its work and get it to those people, that is worth more than 50,000 views of people, globally, right? And that's really where local businesses is generated through social.
Gotcha. So when you post, it doesn't matter if someone's watching, you have 6 million, 10 million views. There's someone watching in a different country that would not benefit from it. So you talked about Trusted Pro in the local market. I mean, Broker Near Me that we have rolled out is another great way to actually utilize as well, as loan officers show when you're actually posting and getting recognized in the local area. That would be a fantastic thing to do that Rocket offers. I do have a lot to talk about, but I'm taking notes as we go. There's such great information here, and I don't want to miss out on anything. We're talking about an age of AI every single day. We hear AI from the left, AI from the left. AI is everything. How are you really like, how do you stand out from the AI slot in all these videos that people would run to you rather than an AI video by someone?
Yeah, it's tough now. So social media before AI used to be the place where people would originate their information search. So when someone's looking to learn something, back when I started on social back in 2020, someone would go straight to TikTok or they'd go straight to Instagram and they'd learn how to fold a towel, all right? Or they would search what they're specifically looking to learn information-wise. Now, 2026, what we're seeing is the average user is going straight to AI, right? So if you want to learn something about the housing process or whatever it is, or buying a home, you're going straight to ChatGPT first. So the information search process has actually deviated. The route has gone away from social media and directly into AI. And then when you go into social media now, because social media as a platform allows anyone to post at any time, there's lots of people throwing AI content out there, and the amount of content has become very, very saturated. And it's difficult to stand out and get as much reach because there's more people posting. So the way that we separate ourselves as loan officers, as mortgage brokers, is to understand that we have something that AI simply could never have, which is human only insights. We have experience that we can draw upon and we can talk about, right? And no matter how many times you ask AI a question, it's never going to be able to relay the experience of working with a nightmare listing agent. Right? It's never going to relay the experience of working with a client who wants to, a reconsideration of value on their appraisal because of X, Y, and Z, right? It's never going to be able to relay the anecdotal experience of actually doing it, what you've done in your career. So it's important on social media now that you create that wow, you educate people, but you do it through telling stories, right? And these are real stories of your day to day and how you've helped someone go through a situation, how you managed a nightmare, a nightmare a deal that could have gone south and you fixed it, right? By you sharing anecdotal stories, by you actually walking through real life experience, these human only insights, it gives people that next layer of education, right? That they could never get through AI. And it also positions you as something that's very important. It positions you as an opinion leader. You become someone that your network, that people on social media go to because they actually value your opinion, not just your information. Because the information is everywhere. But when you become an opinion leader, you're now the expert, you're the trusted source. So social media in itself has gone away from being the knowledge leader, the education guy, the spokesperson. It's gone now to you being actually, okay, this person's a character because they stand for something. They have an opinion on this situation. They're able to share their experience. So just share it. Don't be afraid.
Share it. A lot of people are afraid to share it in this time and age, and definitely experience tells a lot about who you are as a mortgage professional, a real estate professional, a professional overall in your expertise, which is absolutely the way we're talking about. You shared with us before some of or your actual best quote that you actually, I'm not gonna say live by, but you utilize a lot of your social media. What is this about? Can you read it for us and our audience here and just tell us a little bit more what this means to you in this social world?
I love this quote. So this is a quote by Rory Vaden. and he runs a branding agency. And this quote is just so awesome. It says, "Personal branding is a trust accelerator." And that's really the basis of social media too. Social media is all about building a personal brand. And the thing that most people don't actually take away from making content on social media is it's not always about going viral. It's about building more trust with people who don't know you, right? And starting from zero, and people who already have some slight idea of who you are, or maybe have crossed your path at some point. So a perfect example of social media being a trust accelerator is if you have a lead that was given to you by maybe an agent, or let's say you're calling out on a lead that you purchased, and you have that first phone call with that lead, and that phone call goes pretty well, right? And they're 95% sure they want to move forward with you, but there's still a little bit of doubt. The first thing that lead is going to do as soon as you guys hang up that first initial phone call is search your name. And they're usually going to follow it up with the word loan officer. They'll search Jide Buckley loan officer. And the amazing thing with social media being such a trust accelerator is that the platforms themselves will show up really high in terms of SEO, right? So they will usually be the first or second link that they will see if they Google you. As soon as they click into your social media platforms, if they see that you're an expert, you're a knowledge leader, an opinion leader on social, instant credibility, instant trust acceleration. If they see that you're sharing your, morning coffee when you've just gone out to a coffee shop in the area and they know that same coffee shop, instant trust accelerator. You've got kids, they play soccer, their kids play soccer. The more that you share, the more humanized you become to leads that already know you. So now this person who's had one phone call with you, and prior to this phone call, you adjust a phone and another person, a voice and another person on the other end of the line. When they get on that second phone call after them seeing who you are through social media, instantly it's going to improve that level of trust and your conversion rate is going to go up that much higher. Social media is not all about just getting, reach and going viral. It's about improving the conversion rate on your second phone call.
Such an important piece with the conversion piece as well that you mentioned. And everybody, I do all the time as well. If I wanted to look up a professional, who am I dealing with? I search. We have broker near me that people go to and search as well, that our LOs could be appeared on there. And you have a lot of videos. I'm not going to ask you how many videos you have put out there. I'm sure a lot, but on any given day, how many posts do you have? When should we post? What advice do you have with that? Because after this, we're going to watch one of your posts as well. But what are your thoughts on the number of posts daily and when do we post?
Yeah, so you got two different types of posts. You have on-feed posts, which are going to last forever, and then you have stories, which are going to go after 24 hours. So I'd recommend posting on your feed once a day. And it's going to sound like a lot of work, but trust me, once you start getting more comfortable in front of the camera, it will become easier. So make it as easy as possible. Pull out your phone and you can explain a very simple mortgage product that you have access to, right? You could explain a 2-1 buy down, saving someone a lot of money on the monthly payment in the first and second year, right? Or something like that. So one post a day on the feed, and then on your story, the amazing thing is it only lasts for 24 hours. So the great thing here is that you can just share your daily life and go more in depth into who you are, and you can see who views your stories. So post about, you can post maybe 2 to 5 stories a day very easily if you just going through your day to day, drive to work, talk about a situation you've got going on with the deal. You could be at a coffee shop, at the gym, and take a look and monitor those stories and see who's viewing it. Is there a client that you've spoken to on a phone call the day prior who's looking at your story? If so, then you know that that person is potentially, a lot hotter and a lot more warm to maybe move forward and transact with you. So story multiple times a day on feed. Definitely do that at least once a day.
Once a day. So how about the time? Does it matter at 10 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon? What is the best time during the day to be able to actually do that?
Yeah, the algorithm's got smarter now. But ideally, you want to get as much engagement as possible in the first few hours of your video to give yourself the best chance of it doing well. So I'll typically post around 5 p.m. because that's when my target audience will be coming off work and they'll usually have the most time to be able to see that content.
Love it. Okay, very well. So we got a video to show that you actually had posted, and just give an example of what does that sound like? What does that look like? That we can play this video at this point and see exactly what Jide does and how he present himself.
So the news is just in. They are offering up to $150,000 if you're looking to buy a house here in California. And the program is called the Dream for All program. So this has been going on for a few years now. What they're allowing you to do is they are giving you up to 20% to assist you with your purchase of your new home as long as it's in California. You're a California resident and one of you is a first generation home buyer. So if it's you and your partner buying a house, as long as one of you qualifies as that first generation home buyer, you can participate in this program. Now there are other things to factor in here. So the way this works is if they give you 20%, for example, towards your down payment. So let's say you're buying a $500,000 home, they give you $100K. What they are now expecting is 20% equity in the home. So when you go to sell that home, they are going to own 20% of it. So let's say the value of the home has now gone up to $800,000 when you go to sell. They have 20% equity. They are now going to receive $160,000 back from their initial investment of $100K to help you buy your house. So there aren't any payments to make on it. However, they do own that portion of the equity in the home that you're buying. Now, what's amazing about this is if they're giving you a 20% down payment up to $150,000, what that means is now your loan is that much smaller. So even though interest rates are higher, with a lower loan amount, it's now affordable if you're buying a home with this program. So $150,000 max is what they're offering. Now, any borrower on the loan has to meet the income limit. So you'll see the income limits on the website. For example, in Orange County, as long as your household earns under $216,000, you should be eligible for this program. Now, this program will be opening up officially at the beginning of 2026, and they are allocating about $300 million in funds towards it. That means they can help roughly about 2,000 families. And if you look at the stats, last year there was about 18,000 people that applied for the program. Now the way that it's working in 2026 is it's a randomized lottery. So let's say another 20,000-ish people apply for it. That means that you've roughly got about a 1 in 10 chance of you getting accepted onto the program. So it's huge. If you want more information on this, right now it's not available to apply for. But if you go onto the Cal HFA website, you want to sign up for their newsletter. Okay, so if you go down to the bottom of the page, it will say sign up for e-news. That's going to give you the alert as soon as you're able to apply to join this program. And you will, in many instances, receive over $100,000 to help you purchase a home and make that mortgage payment affordable.
I'll take that. I love that. If I was in California, I'm not.
So the news is just in. They are
such an important piece, Jide, that we just watched and talked and went over how to organically, just to review everything we've talked about, organically building trust that will drive more traction to your business without spending a penny, everything we've talked about. We mentioned and talked and saw this through this video, how create a content that is specific to a state or referencing a local market shift. That you be the expert, that leader in that market, and attract more of these clients to work with you locally, that you rub shoulders, maybe have a beer with them locally, and forget their phone. Now they see you on social media. Also, being an opinion leader will build community and ensure you are recognized as an expert. We have you on here as an expert. You've done a magnificent job with this, building that brand for you and definitely connecting with people. We hope that many of our partners do the same thing, which again, it's a simple actions today that we could take and our partners could take. And if you're watching this, I would encourage you, like, gauge your comfort level in front of your camera. Not everybody's comfortable, and just make sure you take 1, 2 times, 3 times. If you find yourself uncomfortable, it's okay. Just get it out and do that. Just get comfortable in front of the camera when you're videotaping. Another action that we could actually do is post on Instagram story that feature a high-level overview of a product you offer. It could be just like the video we saw from Jide. It could be something that you actually specific to your local market, if you have it. It could be something on a national level, a state expertise, some kind of program that would actually get that trust and the wow factor, of course, from yourself. The third thing we should do is post 6 reels if you have not posted any content before on social media platform. We heard Jide talking about, if you want to post a reel or a story, it's a little bit of work. But either way, just if you do it, you got to make sure you do it right. Consistency is key here to gain the trust from our clients and the things that we do. So take these actions follow the steps of Jide that have 500,000 followers. You can have that many, if not more, in your local markets. Keep adding this content that's relevant, that's going to lead to great results, and generate those free leads that you could be sitting watching TV and you're getting someone asking you questions that want to buy a house. 2026 is a great year, and this is a great time to be part of this and definitely take advantage of all the great things that we got to offer. I want to say next week, join us on February 19th, 2026 for another great pro performance, building systems that work when you are not working. A lot to talk about, and so many things that we are going to provide our LOs, broker partners right now, and definitely give you the ammunition to win every single day in this market. I want to say thank you, Jide. What a wonderful time this has been. We appreciate all the great content that you've given us, the advice, all the information that our LOs could benefit from, and simplify things when we're doing it here. So from our team, we want to say thank you for your time joining us today. Really appreciate all that hard work that you do, and definitely spreading the good word out. Keep up the good work, and don't burn those spaghettis at kitchen at one point. All right, don't forget those.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Thank you.